Most Americans believe that US companies are held to the highest regard since a lot of them are the biggest brands in the world, but that belief may not hold up under further investigation. In fact, other countries have banned these American companies for various reasons, from the use of problematic materials in their products to unethical labor practices. The first company on our list got banned for a reason you never saw coming. Let's start with the world's #1 search engine, Google. It's widely known that Google is already banned in places like China and North Korea. However, a country you might not expect to block Google is Ukraine. Well, not exactly the entirety of Ukraine, but the eastern territories of Donetsk and Luhansk, which are part of a region known as the Donbass and are occupied by pro-Russian authorities. However, what's interesting about this is that Russia itself has not banned Google. However, it's tightening its security measures against it and other tech giants to stop the spread of false information, or at least that's how they see it. However, the pro-Russian authorities in the occupied eastern regions of Ukraine act separately from the Russian government. According to Denis Pushilin, the leader of the Donetsk People's Republic, which isn't an official Russian republic by the way, Google has been using its search engine under the instruction of the US to promote terrorism and violence against Russians, especially those in the Donbass. Pushilin claims that the US is using Google to spread anti-Russian lies and misinformation, proving that the US is siding with Ukraine and most of the world in freeing these occupied territories from Russian control. It's pretty wild when you think about it. I guess that comes as no surprise considering the extremist thinking of the Russian authorities in eastern Ukraine. Perhaps the only way to unban Google in these areas is if Ukraine wins the war against Russia. However, Google isn't the only company that's banned elsewhere because of a strong dislike of the United States. McDonald's is perhaps the world's most famous fast food chain, and with that kind of reputation, it would be easy to think that everyone loves the clown, but that isn't the case. In fact, McDonald's is banned in at least 9 countries worldwide, including Zimbabwe, Yemen, Macedonia, and Bermuda. Some countries like Bolivia and Iceland have no McDonald's branches, not necessarily because the government said so, but because their people wouldn't eat fast food anyway. Bolivians are pretty idealistic people, i.e., they don't like giving their money to rich tyrannical corporations like McDonald's, and while there's no outright ban on the fast food chain, their president has made it clear that he's not a fan of the clown either, saying McDonald's is not interested in the health of human beings, only in earnings and corporate profits. Meanwhile, Icelanders are very health conscious in general, so establishing the world's most popular fast food chain in their country doesn't make sense. And then there are countries like Iran and North Korea who ban Mickey D's because, well, they just don't like America. Relations between the US and Iran haven't been great, to say the least, and the country hasn't seen a McDonald's branch in over 40 years. Instead, Iran made its own McDonald's ripoff called McDonald's, and yes, it comes complete with the Golden Arches logo and color scheme. I guess the Iranians do have a sense of humor after all. Meanwhile, you already know why a country like North Korea isn't going to allow a McDonald's within its borders. Hell, it barely allows people within its borders, so as far as Kim Jong-un is concerned, anything associated with America is the devil and doesn't follow North Korea's nationalistic ideals. But get this, here's the funny part. Apparently, a few high-ranking officials within the North Korean government have previously smuggled some Big Macs and fries past the border. I mean, just imagine treating cheeseburgers like they were some illegal weapon shipment. I guess even for the most elite North Koreans, McDonald's is just too much for their appetites. Okay, so maybe McDonald's wasn't exactly banned for doing something wrong, it didn't practice anything unethical or had problematic ingredients in its food, although they probably do, but so does this next company, surprisingly, which included a controversial ingredient that got them banned in several countries. Mountain Dew is quite big in America, but it's not permitted in Japan and 27 countries that are part of the European Union. The reason is that Mountain Dew contains brominated vegetable oil, or BVO, but let me explain what it is and why it's raising a lot of eyebrows. BVO is an ingredient in Mountain Dew that contains a substance called bromine. This substance is also used in flame retardants, which helps prevent things from catching on fire. However, if bromine gets inside your body, it can be harmful and cause health problems. The Center for Disease Control and Prevention says that bromine can irritate your skin, affect your tissues, and cause issues with your mucous membranes. What's worse is if you have too much bromine in your body, it can even cause memory loss and damage to your skin and nerves. In other words, you can get amnesia or skin disease from drinking too much Mountain Dew. BVO is added to make sure the flavors in the soda don't separate. It works like a magic potion, keeping the citrus oils all mixed together, but it can cause some pretty serious problems inside your body once you drink it. Right now, there's still not enough research to determine the amount of bromine that can cause health problems, and perhaps that's why Mountain Dew gets a pass from the American market. Additionally, Mountain Dew's makers PepsiCo has been slapped with numerous petitions over the years pushing them to change the ingredients in their drinks. Eventually, PepsiCo removed BVO from their products and it's no longer listed in the ingredients that make Mountain Dew. However, it's likely that the drink has just substituted it for another ingredient that also keeps the flavors in the soda together. Whatever that is, it may be less dangerous than BVO. Despite these changes though, Mountain Dew has already received a reputation for using bromine, and Japan and the EU countries aren't canceling their bans on the soda. The ban on Mountain Dew is understandable given its health hazards. However, BVO isn't the worst ingredient to be included in a product, as Johnson & Johnson would show. It's pretty ironic that Johnson & Johnson prides itself as a company that sells healthcare products and pharmaceuticals when one of its products contains carcinogenic elements which can cause cancer. But do you know what's even worse? It's that these are found in a product for babies. J&J's signature talc-based baby powder has been criticized for containing asbestos, which can be cancerous to those who come anywhere near it. In fact, it's so notorious that there has been around 38,000 lawsuits against J&J because of their cancerous talc-based powder, according to Reuters. The first of these was filed in 1999 by a 52-year-old woman from Texas who got mesothelioma, a rare and deadly cancer that attacks the lungs and organs. It's caused by exposure to asbestos, and it was a rare diagnosis at the time since mesothelioma is more commonly associated with men who worked in mines and railroads where they are more exposed to asbestos. So understandably, this woman had no idea where she got cancer, and the only thing that makes sense is that she might have got it from J&J's baby powder, which she and her kids regularly use. As a result, Sri Lanka has banned J&J's baby powder from being imported. Meanwhile, India has stopped its production in 2 local factories, although it didn't directly place a ban on the sale of J&J's products. So why other countries haven't followed Sri Lanka despite tens of thousands of lawsuits against J&J, I don't really know. But thankfully, the company didn't wait for more countries to ban them before taking action. In 2020, J&J announced it would stop selling its talc-based baby powder in the United States and Canada. Then, in 2022, they announced that their baby powder will be discontinued and replaced by a new cornstarch-based baby powder. That change is expected to happen sometime this year. Now, let's get into the last company on this list, and like McDonald's, this company isn't doing anything wrong but still got banned in several countries anyways. Uber is a game changer when it comes to public transportation, so much so that it gained a somewhat unfair advantage over other countries' car services. Because of how Uber works, it doesn't follow the regulations other services like taxis do in certain countries, resulting in bans. Take Denmark for example. Its law states that taxis should have a visible fare and certain seat regulations, and these are things that Uber cannot provide simply because their business model doesn't work that way, and as a result, Uber cannot operate in Denmark. The company faces similar challenges in countries such as Germany, Bulgaria, Romania, Hong Kong, and certain parts of Australia where their model goes against local laws and regulations. At one point, drivers who were caught operating an Uber in Germany were slapped with a $25,000 fine. For someone who's trying to make an honest living as a driver, even that fine is ridiculously high. Fortunately, these bans have somewhat eased up in recent years, and certain parts of Germany, Romania, and Italy have started accepting Uber. Most American companies may be the biggest in their respective industries, but that doesn't mean they rule the world. Some of them still need to improve their products if they want to get accepted in other countries, but others simply can't operate in other places because of things that are out of their hands. So as much as Americans want to believe that their companies rule the world, with so much going on in other parts of the globe, the reality is that they don't.